Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles. Today, assuming everything's gone according to plan, I am at the Imperial War Museum at Duxford for the Battle of Britain Air Show. And again, I'm taking the video camera, and assuming everything's gone according to plan, I should have some pretty good footage of that for you to enjoy later on this week, or rather next week, since, today's Saturday. In the meantime, for your enjoyment, here's a little game I played in the USS Flint. It was a couple of weeks ago, actually. And yes, let's get this out of the way right at the start. My name is in pink. Jingles has been doing damage to his allies. I actually talked about this in a previous video. It wasn't, strictly speaking, my fault, although you could say that I was partially to blame. I was in a destroyer, and I'd fired my torpedoes off after waiting for the friendly destroyer ahead of me to clear the line of fire. And just at the point where I'd launched the torpedoes, he suddenly decided to do a 180-degree turn, turned around and sailed right back into my torpedoes. Naturally, even though it wasn't strictly my fault, I apologised because it doesn't cost anything to say sorry. And he didn't retaliate, bless him, although he didn't have a very good game from that point on. And so, as a penalty for doing damage to my team, my name appeared pink for the next couple of games until I'd done sufficient damage to the enemy team, without doing any damage to my own team, for the be careful of this guy indicator to wear off. Yeah, it's fair enough. I did the damage. I'll do the time. So, the USS Flint. This is actually a very, very rare ship in World of Warships, because in order to get the USS Flint, you have to finish ranked first in 3 separate seasons of ranked battles. It's a premium, yes, but it's probably better to think of it as a reward ship rather than a premium ship. You can't just go out and buy this thing. And that's probably just as well, because it's ridiculously overpowered. The Flint is basically a modified Atlanta. Now, I like the Atlanta, but nobody would ever accuse the Atlanta of being overpowered. It's a good ship, but it definitely has its weaknesses. It has a lot of guns, but they're all 5-inch guns. They're destroyer caliber guns, and they have destroyer range. The Atlanta has a few other things in common with destroyers: pitiful armour and a very, very low health pool. Unlike destroyers, the Atlanta has a citadel, and it will eat citadel hits like nobody's business, particularly since the poor range of the guns means that you have to get so close to an enemy ship in order to successfully land hits on them that you have next to no time whatsoever to take evasive action when they start firing back at you. What would make the Atlanta overpowered is if it was able to fire with relative impunity those massed batteries of 5-inch guns. If, for example, it had a smokescreen. What would make it even more overpowered was that if it had some way of detecting torpedoes fired into that smokescreen. Step forward, USS Flint, because that's exactly what it is. It's an Atlanta with a smokescreen and the hydroacoustic search consumable. There are a couple of other differences. It loses 2 of the 5-inch wing turrets and replaces them with anti-aircraft guns, which is no bad thing because they're 40mm Bofors anti-aircraft guns. They are very, very good anti-aircraft guns. The Flint can also enjoy unlimited uses of the defensive fire consumable. But you don't really want to be taking the defensive fire consumable on the Flint. Anybody can take the defensive fire consumable. What you want to be doing with a Flint is taking the hydroacoustic search consumable and taking the smokescreen, because then you can do things like this. Drive up to a spot. Well, technically it's sailing up to a spot. Or is it? Because it doesn't have any sails, does it? And yet everybody insists that, well, it is, the correct naval terminology is sailing, even though we haven't had sail ships for hundreds of years, but whatever. You sail up to a spot where there are plenty of targets for you to shoot at. You engage the Romulan cloaking device. If you think that there's any chance that some torpedoes may have been fired into your smokescreen, because let's not forget, smokescreens are torpedo magnets, then you can pop the hydroacoustic search, and then you just engage the Daka, because these 5-inch guns, they just never stop firing, just like on the Atlanta. The one downside of these guns is the inferior ballistic properties. The shells do tend to hang in the air for an awful long time before coming down. In fact, when you're firing at extreme range in both the Flint and the Atlanta, you can have 4 salvos in the air before the first ones even reach the target. But volume of firepower has a certain quality all of its own. Throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's going to stick. Still got plenty of time on the smoke screen. But hello, what's that Murmansk doing there? Well, I don't mind him sharing my smoke screen. I mean, you know, smoke screens are fun for all the family, but give me some space at least. We're going to back off from that corner because I'm pretty sure there's an enemy battleship coming around the corner over to the right. And we're going to keep the fire going on this Furitaka. Another hilariously badly armoured cruiser. I really should be using high explosive. Let's just get that out there right now. Not that the armour piercing is ineffective with the Flint, but it's most effective at ranges of 6 kilometres or even less. Anything more than that, you really should be using high explosive. And hello, somebody's detected me with either radar or hydroacoustic search. Well, that's not good. Well, then again, if they've detected me, they've detected that Murmansk as well. And yep, there it is. Saw that one coming. And now the smoke screen's gone. I'm no longer being detected by whatever it was. But I am now in visual range. So this is why I parked up around the corner of this island. It's the Belfast over there. It's the other overpowered Tier 7 Premium, although it's one that you can actually buy. So, who's more overpowered, the Flint or the Belfast? Well, let's find out. Switch back to high explosive now. Raining death and destruction down on the Belfast. And this is why I parked up on the corner. Because you always have to have an exit strategy. When you're in a cruiser that has a smoke screen. Often, and you see this with people playing the British cruisers, they'll get a fantastic position early on in the game when they first pop their smoke. All kinds of targets within range being spotted by other ships on the team, and they just sit there in the smoke, and they unleash the Daka Daka Daka. And then their smoke screen expires, and they suddenly realise they're sitting in the middle of open water with nowhere to go, and everybody on the enemy team can see them, and then they die very, very quickly. You have to take advantage of concealment opportunities that are not your smoke screen if you're going to use this ship effectively. Just going to take a few shots at that sneaky little destroyer who's trying to shelter in cover behind the outcropping on the edge of the island over there. I have to confess, I am committing a bit of a schoolboy error in the Flint. I've loaded up the smoke consumable, but it's the non-premium smoke consumable. I completely forgot to swap it out at the start of this game. If you are fortunate enough, or good enough, to have a Flint, you absolutely definitely should be using the premium smokescreen consumable because it has an 80-second reduced cooldown, which means that when your smokescreen expires, get ready for this, with the premium smoke consumable on the Flint, when your smokescreen expires, you only have to wait something like 30 or 40 seconds and you can use it again. And of course, with the premium consumable, you get an extra charge. The superintendent skill is definitely recommended for Flint captains. Then you can get 4 charges on the smoke screen. It really just, it's absolutely ridiculous. As it is, I've managed to avoid attention for long enough that my non-premium smoke screen is now ready to go again, as is my hydroacoustic search. So what I'm going to do now is put myself into a position where there are all kinds of enemy ships in range, and then we're going to rinse, repeat, and do it all again. Paying careful attention to the smoke screen over there, and yep, there he is. There's that destroyer that I put a couple of shots into earlier. So, oh, hang on a second. There's a kill steal available here. We're definitely going to take that. Thank you. Good night. So glad you could turn up. There's my first actual kill. Now for that destroyer. Now I've got the hydroacoustic search going because remember, smoke screens are torpedo magnets. So if he does get some torpedoes away, I will know about it. And bingo, kill number 2 took care of the destroyer. He's the big threat. Now, all kinds of targets within range, and I just hope they're going to remain spotted now that I'm covered up in this smoke screen. Ah, damn it. Okay, he's gone. Who's still in range? This guy is. Only just. So, well, he's burning. Let's see if we can add to his problems. I know that there were other enemy ships over there, but at the moment nobody's in the position to spot any of them, so I'm going to just fire some torpedoes off in that general direction. Oh, did I mention, by the way, I know the Atlanta has torpedoes, but they're terrible. They're only really of use in knife fights. The torpedoes on the Flint have a 9.2 kilometre range. Yep, it's just another way that the Flint is gloriously overpowered. They're incredibly slow, they only have a speed of 55 knots, but 9 kilometre range, so we'll see if they hit anything, and it doesn't look like that destroyer did get any torpedoes away, so I don't have to worry about taking evasive action. And we'll just keep raining down death and destruction. There we go, kill number 3. Now, is there anybody else in range? No, there is not. I don't have a huge amount of time left on my smoke screen. So, bear it in mind, you always have to have an exit strategy. If nobody's in range of me, then I'm not in range of them. They are not going to see me if I exit this smoke screen and get myself into my next spot of cover. The smoke screen was about to dissipate anyway. I wasn't spotted since I was firing from within the smoke screen, and if anybody was using hydroacoustic search, they were outside of range, so I've managed to get out without being detected and fired upon. Now, if there were still enemy ships up and my smoke screen was about to expire, then it's very important that you don't keep shooting at them as you move out of the smoke screen, because they will see you. So if you do need to haul ass and get out of there and there are still enemy ships within range, then stop shooting while you're still inside the smoke and then turn around and make your exit. And providing they're outside of your surface detection range, which today is 9.4 kilometers, you'll be able to escape undetected. If you'd been firing the guns, it would have been 11.1 kilometers. And I've timed my withdrawal just about perfectly because we've just got our third capture ribbon. We now hold all 3 of the epicenter rings. I'm just coming into range of this Fiji, and I've turned course to starboard, which has put this island between myself and him. So I'm not actually in direct line of sight of the Fiji, so I was able to get those shots away without being spotted. Of course they missed, but you know, that's not the point. It's entirely possible that that Fiji is unaware that I'm actually shooting at him. He may be concentrating his fire on somebody else, locked down in a gun sight view, and because those shots missed, he's not actually aware that he's under fire. I should be able to get 2 salvos away as I sprint through the gap between these 2 islands. Oh, yeah, he's turned away. He definitely is aware that I am here. But he just wasn't able to bring his guns around fast enough to take advantage of the couple of seconds where I was visible in the gap between those 2 islands. So, okay, he's a Fiji. He definitely knows I'm here. Fijis have torpedoes. My hydroacoustic search is ready to go, but I'm anticipating a torpedo launch. So there he is. Now he's shooting at somebody else, but I know this guy knows I'm here. So we're going to make a sharp turn towards him, present the narrowest possible profile to any torpedoes that he's fired in this direction, and coincidentally also the narrowest possible profile, and yep, there are the torpedoes, and also the narrowest possible profile towards his armour piercing. And this poor Fiji is now the last ship left alive on the enemy team. We're all shooting at him, and once he's done, it is game over. And boom, headshot, or Emile Bertin got him. So, game over. I only did just short of 50,000 damage in that match. I should have been firing far more high explosive than I was. My armour piercing actually did around about half of the damage that I did, but I managed to get a couple of tasks complete. Oh yeah, hit enemy ships 100 times. Yeah, that's not difficult to do in this ship, not with the rate of fire of these 5-inch gun batteries. But with just less than 50,000 damage done, I still managed to come top of the team on experience earned, with not far short of 2,000 base experience. Now, it's not a huge amount. I mean, I've seen games where people have done 3,000 base experience, but they've usually done 300,000 damage as well. So it's not bad. And there it is, the badge of shame. I had to complete 5 further battles. I had to endure the walk of shame for 5 more games before I lost the pink status. Remember, guys, damaging your teammates isn't big, it isn't hard, it isn't clever, so do try to avoid doing it wherever possible. Anyway, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm at the Imperial War Museum at Duxford, enjoying the Battle of Britain air show, and there will almost certainly, assuming everything goes according to plan, be a video of that coming up next week. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.